Hi guys, and welcome to Ultra Chill. Today we have with us the team from Palepurple, who are dropping a unique collection on Ultra. It has both a physical and a digital component. We talk about why sneakers are interesting for collectors, how the design process goes, and what the team is trying to achieve. It's a great show, so let's get to it. I'd like to thank Sean, Vice Royale, and Jose for coming on to the show today. It'd be great if each of you could just say a little bit about yourselves and a little bit about your history.
So my name's Jose. I have about 10 years footwear experience. So this is definitely within my wheelhouse. It's been, a dream of mine to be able to design, styles, projects that, I'm extremely passionate about, and Palepurple is definitely one of them. It's extremely exciting to be part of, obviously, Web3 as things start to change. So, it's just a really exciting project, and I've gotten a chance to work with Vice Royal and Sean, and it's just truly a pleasure. So, I'm the one with the footwear design background. I'm the sneakerhead.
Thank you for having us. I'm extremely excited. My name is Sean Chimbani. I'm based in the UK, just outside of London. I'm a fashion and footwear designer. I'm not like Jose. I don't come from a traditional background, but obviously over the years I've acquired the skills to be able to do the job properly. I run an exciting young brand. Obviously, I partner with another talented designer called Face Concept Stores. So that's, fashion is my sort of bread and butter. That's what I do majority of the time. But obviously, the footwear is another part of my my whole host of stuff I do. And Palepurple is just a journey I took on with two amazing, talented guys, Jose and Vice. And just super excited to obviously get the opportunity to work with such a great, company like Ultra, on this. So thank you.
Thank you for having us on the podcast, of course. I'm Vice Royal. I'm actually Jose's brother. There might be some lookalikes. And I don't necessarily have a background in footwear, but I am a veteran of the visual effects and film industry. I've been doing that for about 15 years at this point. This Palepurple collaboration kind of came by chance pretty much since the pandemic started. And that's when Jose met Sean, and then I got introduced to them. And since then, it's been a great collaborative experience where all three of us kind of bring different aspects into the brand.
So I wanted to start by talking about sneaker collector culture, because it's something that I know exists as its own very unique culture. There's a lot of people that are very invested, both emotionally and of course financially, in collecting sneakers and collecting especially rare old sneakers, unique brands, unique ideas. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. What do you guys think makes sneakers such an appealing target for collectors?
I think in general, sneakers have been, sort of evolving throughout the years. And I think we're at this stage where they've become almost a must-have for everyone, and not just as a, leisure wear as they were meant to be originally. This is now a fashion statement, right? So usually people will, dress up however they do, but a lot of times it's meant to sort of highlight what they're wearing on their feet. And so a lot of the times it's going to be sneakers, because again, they're meant as leisure wear. So of course they're going to be comfortable. But on top of that, they're fashion statements. Automatically, when you see somebody wearing, one of the sneakers that have an extreme cult following, or they're extremely rare, of course they're going to grab attention wherever they go. It's just a very exciting piece. You can pop it with as many colors as you want, depending on what your personal style is, or you could do it a little bit more subdued, but the silhouette itself will sort of speak to that sort of impact that you can have on people. Now with obviously Web3 and everything sort of going digital, it's the opportunity to start sort of taking that incredible traction that footwear and specific sneakers have had on the culture, and then transferring that to the digital world, where I think there can be a lot, a lot of positivity that can come out of that in the future with, with avatars possibly wearing the sneakers, with, people in social media, influencers being able to, instead of investing in physical pieces, they're doing it through digital wear, right? And you're able to be a little bit more eco-friendly, and still be able to express yourself in a way where it's an impact. It's a fashion statement, and again, sneakers are that thing that definitely attract that attention. So yeah, I mean, I think definitely within the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years, sneakers have definitely started, garnering that attention as the main piece, within an outfit.
I'd actually be really curious to hear what you guys' process is like for designing and creating a new line.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main idea here is that it usually starts with an inspiration point, whatever the reference may be. I specifically remember, especially for this collection, Sean and I were talking about, how can we sort of curate a selection of pieces that is going to make sort of an impact, right? And one thing that we kept going back to was this idea of texture, right? And as the internet is, you start one place and you end up somewhere completely different. And we ended up finding this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful texture from the surface of Mars. And to us, immediately it was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, we can definitely do something here. And that's how one of the styles initially started, and so you start with one sort of detail that then sort of elaborates into a set of lines or shapes, which then you tend to continue to expand throughout the collection. It's obviously exciting once you find that specific detail or that reference that you're going to be using for the rest of the collection. A lot of times, to be honest, it's you're not really sure that that's going to be it. It's more you sort of playing around with the idea and testing things, and that's where you sort of start to gain whether or not that's essentially going to be what you're going to move forward with. And obviously, working within a team like this one, extremely talented people, it's a very exciting thing to talk through the initial ideas, to brainstorm on what things can be, and where we can take specific silhouettes or what silhouettes we can bring in. So yeah, in general, it's a very similar approach to what you would find in the rest of the industry, right? Obviously, starting with inspiration, looking at trends that are currently happening, and sort of mashing that together.
You guys are building something which is both physical, and you guys are building something which is digital, and there's a Web3 component. Can you talk a little bit about what the intersection is there?
Yeah, and what I gather from the question is like the Web3 digital and the physical, and how those come together. And I think it's pretty interesting. Web3 is something that I'm just going to go out and say that I'm definitely not a blockchain scientist or anything like that to know or have a deep understanding of it. But we do know, just from a regular consumer / creator's point, what that kind of means for us. And at least to us, it means what's touted as the future, right, of the internet, of communication, that has led to NFTs and the boom of NFTs in the last 2 years, and also more people knowing about crypto and sort of that decentralized mentality. So there's a lot to unpack there, but how it affects us is, we saw the opportunity with NFTs, right? And all the amazing work that other folks have done just served as an inspiration point, right? And for the most part, that's remained digital. But given that both Jose and Sean come from this hybrid world of physical and digital, or at least they start digital and then go physical. It was kind of a natural progression for us to go in that direction, or to strive to go in that direction. But we also feel that, you know, the consumers in general are trying to establish this connection as well, with these sort of digital goods, and how they can have sort of a physical counterpart, in whatever form they come. It's something that just, it's kind of human, right? You kind of want to feel something at the end of the day, feel something in your hands, right? And so this is where we've naturally led ourselves to, and where we feel that consumers, collectors, or anybody interested in this would also be headed in that direction as well. And I guess the last point to that too would be, I'm sure other people are doing it, or they thought about it as well, but we kind of see this as a stepping stone, the digital Web3 portion as a stepping stone towards garnering, you know, that sort of upfront finance that's needed to go physical, right? And sort of using it as an investment opportunity, right? And I think it just kind of gives us some more creative freedom to start in a certain place and end in the place that we want to go, a bit different that's been done in the past.
I think that, like, when you think about NFT projects, you have to think about, you know, how value is shared within a group. Because what we're actually talking about generally when we talk about a startup, and what you guys are doing is effectively a startup, right? Is you come up with the idea, you guys like grind it out, and then you go and you pitch it either to a audience of potential users who are gonna, you know, bootstrap your ability to continue financing the funding necessary to develop the product, especially if you're talking in SaaS, right? Or if you're building a physical product, then you have to bring it usually to an angel investor or to VCs and say, this is our concept, this is the product that we want to bring to market. We need X amount of funds, you know, are you in? And I think what's really interesting about the transition towards NFTs as a funding model is that it gives the opportunity for some third option there, which is not just users, not just a small group of elite investors, but potentially common people investors who like believe in products like what you guys are trying to produce and say, hey, listen, like we're in from the ground floor. We're getting value back from you guys immediately, you know, either through NFTs that are sellable on an open market or through physical items that we receive because we invested in you. And then we get to have part of kind of like the emotional ride of building a startup, a product, which I think is a really interesting like adventure for people to participate in, but also a really interesting funding model as something which, you know, let's be honest, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, just like did not exist.
I'm so glad you brought this up. It's something we've discussed in the past. I want to say about a year ago, there were a lot of discussions on like where the funding mod, like the whole funding model, where Web3 is shifting towards, because obviously now it's so important to actually include the collector. Some collectors, you know, a lot of like a whole host of Web3 brands are now trying to involve the collector as part of, I don't know, the designer, for example, getting involved in so many different situations. But it's actually funny, we're having a conversation not long ago about, you know, you almost like ask, can you move away from just, you know, approaching investors, because Web3 is opening up. It's almost like opening up that opportunity of like, if your collector can become the, you know, the investor, because they are essentially the people telling you if your product is good or not. You know, they're giving you feedback. Not saying, you know, if you involve VCs and angel investors, they don't do that, but there's, you know, there's history there that shows that usually, you know, when they invest, they're just looking for you to do the work and, you know, they want something in return. But with, you know, having the collector be your investor, essentially, it's like you said, it opens up that sort of like a whole different, space for you to expand on your product, or, because now you're working with your collector, right? Because they're able to give you the feedback you need to know in order to build and progress with your product.
Because at the end of the day, community is key. And what you guys are building is you build the product, but you're at the same time building a community. And once you have the product ready, then you have the community of people that are interested in it, and it's already validated. And I think that's really valuable. So last thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is you guys are obviously dropping a unique collection on Ultra. So I wanted maybe a few minutes, you guys can talk a little bit about what confrontational couture is and a little bit about your Celestial Bodies Uniq collection.
We kind of came together, as I said, because of COVID and the pandemic, right? So Jose started collaborating with Sean. They met through Instagram, I believe, if I'm getting that right, guys. And then Jose roped me in, right? Because it seemed like a really exciting thing that they were doing. And I had some skills that they wanted to use, and they have some stuff that I wanted to also kind of expand on. And so all three of us came together and started creating and collaborating. And it actually felt really inspiring, number one, because Sean is in London, we are in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so it's this communication that's happening across the globe. And it felt almost like, we were chilling in our living room. And it's great, to be able to collaborate in that way and create things that are fascinating to us so easily. And so that's what kind of eventually led to Palepurple and the collection. So with the collection itself, all the ideas that started to come through because of Jose and Sean's design language, they have a keen eye for just kind of analyzing the trends and looking at what the people that should be wearing things are wearing, and just kind of analyzing and deconstructing the designs and seeing, oh, okay, this is cool, this is not. And the result of that was a very aggressive looking design, and something that's very kind of swirly. And Jose is probably better at explaining all of this, but ultimately it's this striking design that you as a consumer, and maybe somebody that is a sneakerhead, will appreciate, and somebody that's not will just find it pretty striking. And so from there, it kind of became a natural thing to just give that aesthetic a name, and that's where we came up with confrontational couture, just because it's always felt aggressive and confrontational in a way that just kind of hits you hard, right? But ultimately, this is just what came about from our designs and the way that we kind of pushed forth everything. And also, as far as the collection goes, when it comes to Celestial Bodies, that's coming mostly from the inspiration that led to the subsequent designs. And this is heavily inspired by Celestial Bodies, but also we tend to have a lot of avatars and characters in our artwork or designs, and so this led to it being kind of the perfect name, describing the celestial bodies that inspire it and the celestial bodies that wear it.
This whole idea, I think we're having this conversation as a team, this whole idea, I think, to expand on the one point JP talked about the collection being so vast in terms of like the designs, colorways, etc. It goes back to this whole idea of like the tourist and the purist. You know, we designed it with the idea of like being a, you know, purist, because myself and Jose are, you know, so like engrossed in the whole design aspect of like, you know, footwear, fashion, and we really deep in terms of like looking at certain, you know, elements of the actual like physical designs themselves, to make sure they had that aesthetic that is eye grabbing. But also when you look at the tourist aspect of it, it's just like we went into this project with an open mind, you know. We want to be a school of thought, essentially. That's what Palepurple is, you know. We want this collection to serve as, you know, a dialogue. You know, we want people to question why that texture, right? Like, why that material? Why that colorway?
I wanted to thank you guys for your time and for your expertise and for the cool stuff that you guys are working on.
Thanks so much, Rami.
Awesome. Thank you, Rami, and thank you to the community.
I did want to just drop a last point. I worked for quite a few years with my brother building a startup. That's actually like how I ended up at Ultra like many years ago. And it's a really unique experience. It's a really fun thing. Have you guys like actually worked together in the past?
No.
No, but you know, this is why it's crucial to have Sean here, because, you know, brothers, you know, Sean is our referee.
That sounds super healthy. I deeply appreciate that.